as the countdown timer has just expired. Game number 1 about to start. Sin versus TT1 on Crevasse.
I must say, once again, though, TT1 really one of those guys that you can never underestimate, and I also think he's, well, underrated is always a big word to use, but perhaps he doesn't really get the credits he deserves because he's been one of the absolute top North American Protoss for a long time.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, and there's some history here between these two players, both formerly members of Team Fnatic. I guarantee you they've spent time practicing together before. They're familiar with the play styles and the likenesses of one another. As I guess we should probably go ahead and introduce these two players. Down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, Fanatics, TT1, no, not Fnatic.
MTW.
MTW's TT1. He needs to change that tag there. It's killing me.
No problem, man, that happens.
And of course his opponent up in the top left-hand corner of the screen, representing the Gamma Bears, it is Sin.
Wow. I thought we were in North America, man.
Man. All right, shout out to Sin fans everywhere.
All right, so back to business. Basically, TT1 really seems to struggle quite a bit against Zerg, even though he did manage to beat Red, which I think is super impressive, because Red, without a doubt, one of the strongest Zergs outside, and I would say even say inside if he was in Korea. TT1 did manage to beat him, but he seems to have a really, really big phobia, basically, or fear of Mutalisk. And yesterday was actually really quite funny. We were backstage. TT1 was playing a game. He was, I don't know against who he was playing, just a ladder game. And he scouted the Spire, and he was on 2 base, and he just instantly made 3 cannons at each base. And meanwhile, the guy actually maxed out on Ro16, and everybody asked, like, TT1, what on earth are you doing? Why did you make the cannons? He's like, I saw the Spire. And he just instantly made 6 cannons and 3 in each base. And that kind of shows that, he really seems to struggle. The first thing he said to me when I met him this weekend was not, hey, Roddy, how are you doing? He's like, well, how to play against Muda. That literally was his opening sentence. So that might be a big problem for him. Then again, he has strong timings. He certainly has strong 2-base timings, if I should believe Red. So, I don't know. You can never say TT1 is out of it.
You know, TT1's fear of the Muta could really hurt him here, because Sin's a player that is known to play Mutas in this matchup.
First game that jumps in my mind is not the last DreamHack, but the one before that, where Sen played in the playoffs against Sasa. And I remember that Sasa had a very, very impressive run throughout his group stage, went 5-0, 10-0, I think. And then Sen played against Sasa on Terminus, even though Sasa is, Sasa has improved so much ever since. But back then, Sen went Mutalisk against Sasa and managed to basically win that series very easily and convincingly.
Yeah, TT1 throwing down the proxy pylon behind Sin's hatch first. So Sin being perhaps a little bit risky here, but calling TT1's bluff, only putting a single pylon or a single drone on that pylon before TT1 decides to cancel it. So before this game picks up too much, I want to give a huge thanks to the fans here that have taken time off their busy Friday to come out to the first day of the NASL. Shout out to all you guys. Thanks for being here. Also, huge shout out to our sponsors, Azo, iBuyPower, Kingston HyperX, Cooler Master, Beyond Gaming, and of course, Twitch TV, the premier streaming service for StarCraft 2 players worldwide.
Ooh, nice commercial right there, man.
That's right. Hope you're listening, Kevin.
I definitely am. We see Sen actually taking this extract. I think that's kind of useless. But of course was nice to see in the start of this game that TT1 went for Nexus before Forge. I really think if he went Forge before Nexus, then he actually probably would have tried to do something with that pylon. Tried to throw up a couple of cannons, which is always very, very good against Hedge first. But yeah, when you open up Nexus before Forge, obviously your Forge is very delayed, and making cannons isn't really worth it. And wow, look at Sen, man.
Yeah, that's really quick. Super fast third base. And I just want to talk about how delayed this Forge was. TT1 went Pylon, Nexus, Pylon, Forge. So super late Forge. Really no chance of him applying any real cannon pressure. Sin's economy is going to be incredible. He's gone hatch first into a fast third base.
Ooh, Sen should be careful with that Overlord. And he is.
Yep, it'll get out of there in time. Cybercore for TT1 just about 90% complete. It'll be finishing up here shortly. And then we're going to see what kind of tech he chooses to round out his build with. Now, typically, a 2-base Protoss has 4 gases to work with, but here on Crevasse, TT1's only got 3. It's going to make it a bit harder for him to tech at a rate that he wants to tech at.
Definitely, that's something that you have to take into consideration, and I love how long Sen kept this drone alive. I mean, we all know against Protoss, you basically don't need to get that drone out of there until the Stalker is out or a Sentry, because the Zealot can't really catch up. But it's actually quite hard to make sure that you hit your injects not screw up anything in your build order and still keep that drone alive. But Sen is getting so much information right now. I'm sure that TT1 would have loved to build even more. Wow, he's just building 3 gates while the drone is still here. That surprised me a little bit.
I guess he could very possibly cancel these gates and throw something else down. But man, the guy Sin is like serious about his scouting. He is seeing everything. I don't think this drone will make it out again. Maybe it will. I don't know. Only a single sentry there. Is there a stalker popping out? No, a second sentry.
Oh, sentry is taking a little bit of a detour, but yeah.
Definitely not long to this world. Finally, the drone gets cleaned up. Will TT1? Will TT1 cancel these gates? I think not.
Ro16 well on its way right now for Sen, who is at 58 supply. Made quite a few overlords to make sure that he's not going to be supply capped in the near future. Both of these guys equal in work is that we do see a Twilight console going down. So, what's it going to be, TT1? Perhaps a big... I don't know, Ben. It's hard to predict right now.
It's a little bit too tough to call, especially with only 2 sentries out. It's always possible that we see some kind of DT tag. Blink Stalker play is very, very viable as well.
Charge slot Archon. I mean, this is quite wide open. If we take a look over here, this is really quite wide open, so that would be, in potential, it could be very nice for a lot of Zealots to swarm around.
TT1's got so much gas.
To swarm around those roaches. Well, a Templar Archives right now? No, it's going to be Blink.
Alright, so it is going to be that Blink upgrade. Sin is already hammering out some units. 7 roaches, 10 lings on the way. He's sitting on about 52 drones.
Sen already, TT1 already wiped in quite a few Zealots. Actually, it seems like Sen is going to spot them in the near future. Actually, Sen has all 4 Cell Naga Whites there, so Sen spotted them quite a while ago. And I think it's going to be quite hard for TT1 to pull off. And if I were him, I would try to just secure another base, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Meanwhile, he did force a lot of units already with those pylons, with all those gateways. So in general, quite a smart move. In the end, well, actually he's ahead in workers right now, so wow, it's really smart. He's down in supply, and he's going to need some excellent force field if Sen decides to push him. But if he survives that, we're going to see a whole different game.
TT1's army is kind of small right now. 8 sentries, 4 zealots, 2 stalkers. He's got a lot of gateways though, so he has warp in. Blink will be done in like 30 seconds. But Sin has been making a lot of units. 22 roaches, some speedlings. Production tab shows more roaches. Roach speed +1 is finishing. So we're going to see a big roach bust of sorts on this 3rd base. And it's all going to come down to whether or not TT1 can keep his 3rd alive. And
it's also a big problem. TT1 is actually not aware of this at all. He doesn't have anything on the map. He does not have a robotics facility, no observers. And you really want to get your army close to this because you want to cut off the units once those roaches and zerglings start streaming around all of these sentries. Well, we have a cannon right there. That one cannon might actually help out a lot. Still slow roaches though.
Not the best force fields ever. A lot of roaches in very, very close. But those roaches are falling quite quickly. Sin is just going to focus down this Nexus. Will TT1 cancel? He's going to throw down a lot of force fields. That Nexus is so low, and it is canceled.
But at what cost? Sen is losing a lot of units here, though. A couple of new force fields going down for TT1. TT1 did lose 4 or 5 sentries in the process there, and that made everything kind of worth it for Sen.
Yeah, there's not a lot of energy left on the 3 sentries remaining. Still a ton of roaches here. I don't think TT1 is ever going to get this Nexus up.
Nope, he's going to have to cancel it once again. TT1 is down 40 supply right now. Now we see Sen droning up, which is really quite a trademark play of TT1, is that he never stops producing probes. Right now he's at 63 probes, just of 2 bases. Of course, he already planned on having that 3rd base right now, being able to transfer probes. But still, that's something you see TT1 do so often. He will have so many probes. Yeah,
he loves producing workers. He was talking about that yesterday. He said if there's anything, or he said there's lots of things I do wrong, but if there's anything I do right, it's make probes. So Sin once again going to push down here, try to force another cancel on this 3rd base. And this time there's so many units in. TT1 might get completely surrounded here. There's only a few sentries and the entire army of TT1 is surrounded. Blink does finish, but is it enough?
A couple of Zealots being wiped in now as well. We still have that 1 cannon, but Sen is doing so much damage right now to the army of TT1.
What a devastating timing from Sin here. Not having a Robo proving to be a critical misstep by TT1. No Colossi, no Immortals, making it virtually impossible to take his 3rd with just gateway units.
Well, yes and no. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. Of course, it makes some sense, but I think it has everything to do with the army positioning of TT1. If he's closer to that ramp, if he somehow has some high ground vision, perhaps a research hallucination, anything, he could perhaps see this coming in. He could position himself way better. If you have 2 cannons over here, there's no way that the same kind of push from Sen will work.
Sure, absolutely you're right. Protoss players love fighting above and below ramps for that very reason. Man, Sin has got such a huge army, switching into mutas now. Link's going to try to deny this pylon, but a single Zealot will be warped in to deal with it. The supplies right now heavily favoring our Zerg player. 167 supply to only 100. TT1 hurting badly right now.
Yep, TT1 gonna try to make something happen with those blink stocks. There are not that many roaches though, so this actually might work out kind of well.
Whoa.
Offensive blink.
Well, blinking forward, getting a lot of roach kills here, but still the supply is just overwhelmingly in favor of Sin. 180 supply for Sin.
And what started off with 2 links here turned into a lot of links. It's like roaches, man.
That Zealot, man, not what he signed up for.
No.
TT1 actually accidentally killing one of his own stalkers there. Muta's going to fly into the main base of TT1, and he is nowhere near being in position to deal with this. His stalkers are so far behind. They got to come all the way back. They're going to have to blink twice to get up there.
Yes, indeed. It's going to take quite a while.
Probes going to fall here. Already 14 probes going down.
It's been down 80 supply right now. I'm loving this mid-game Muta switch as well of Sen. It's something we saw Fruit Dealer do a lot at the Intox Remasters, the Global Challenge in New York, where, well, you could say he was a lot better than his opponents. Of course, Sen TT1 should be a bit closer, but once you're ahead and you feel like you're able to afford quite a few Mutalists, it makes a lot of sense, because obviously Protoss will keep his units over here, trying to secure that turret.
How about Sin's macro, man? 15 minutes into the game, he is max, and he's been fighting this whole time. TT1 just for the first time, this third base might actually complete, but he's going to come. Sin going to come forward one more time with a lot of roaches and lings, and again, TT1 not in the best position. Force field's going down, but I do not think he's got enough, Rotterdam.
I don't think so either. Those Mutalists picking off the sentries, really nice focus fire right there by Sen, and the roaches just swarming all around these blink stalkers. TT1 does manage to save a few, but this Nexus will fall once again.
Absolutely. This time it does not get cancelled, of course, because it was completed. Sin just dominating this game right now. TT1 down 80 supply. What can he do?
I don't think there's all that much he can do. He's wiping in more and more stalkers, but his main, well, mine out is a big word, but it's getting close to it. 60 minutes left. Ooh, nice on-borrow right there at Sen.
Oh, excellent number. There's the GG from TT1, and Sin convincingly takes game number 1.
Yeah.